Yeah, it's John Knox Jr., truly Nolon band. I'm going to talk about the Allman Brothers and particularly Gregg Allman and the influence of the Allman Brothers Band on my music career. Um, how did I meet Gregg Allman? Actually, it was a happen chance meeting. I walked into a club. I wasn't supposed to be playing at JR's Fastlane that particular week. Is actually the following week I was supposed to be playing, which I did actually do. I was going to be playing with John Cafferty and Beaver Brown Band, and so I walked in, and there was Greg sitting at the table, and I and John just walked up with me and introduced me. And we sat. Greg invited us to sit down with him and have a drink with him. And so I got to talking with Greg and we just hit it really off as friends. Initially acquaintances, but we hit it off majorly as a connection, both musically and life itself. And he began to open up about some of the things that, as we were briefly that evening, some of the things that he was doing with his music and with the Allman Brothers Band. And he introduced me to Dwain Allman, his brother. His brother walked over and shook my hand and then walked away. And that was an exhilarating experience because I knew a little bit about Dwain Allman. I didn't know very much about Greg at that point. I had heard about some of the tragic things that happened in in the Allman family, and I'd heard about. I'd listened to some of. It's interesting because I'd listened to some of the Allman Brothers Band music earlier in my lifetime, and never thought I'd actually be singing in front of Gregg Allman. And it was just an exhilarating experience to sit there and talk about music, talk about life, and just being involved. And That was the very beginning of a major door open for me in the music industry. And Greg opened the door to an enormous amount of connection with uh, the Recording Artists Association and with even with surprisingly even with Hollywood people and with just a whole gamut of singer songwriters, country music people, and et cetera, et cetera. But I'll get into that later. Uh, but through this meeting, that chance meeting, it expanded into a friendship that would last all the way to the all the way to the end of Greg's life, and the very sad, tragic death of Gregg Allman it hit me like a shock wave, and it hurt enormously. Uh, I remember Dwayne calling me, and then Greg called me with um the news that he had found out he had stage 4 cancer. Uh, but long before ever finding that out, we were playing live on stage together, and including Rocktopia Live Tour, which was a culmination of a lot of people, and I'll get into that later with about Rocktopia Live. But Greg was a spark plug of creativity, a spark plug of music genius, and he just typified everything what music really is all about. And certainly he knew every single instrument by heart. You could put a blindfold on him, he'd know it exactly. He'd know what to do, what when. He knew what the audience wanted, and he delivered it reliably, delivered it right on cue. So Gregg was awesome to work with. He was awesome to be a friend with, lifetime friend with, and so that was great to from the beginning to end. Great experience with Gregg Allman and playing live on stage with the Allman Brothers Band, and even playing on stage with Dwain, his brother, which I did at some local venue, the music festivals and stuff. Was really Charlestown Seafood Festival and many other places. So this is sharing about what it is to be with the Allman Brothers Band, and also doing a national tour many times with them. Was absolutely awesome too. Playing keyboard. Thank you.